All right, so today, right now, actually, I'm meeting up with a guy on Facebook. Says he's got some 5XL clothes for me. My clothes are getting pretty thin from washing them and wearing them, and you know they're wearing out. After this, I'm gonna go check out the RV I've been looking at on Craigslist for about the last week and a half. I don't think they've had any other bites on the RV because they keep moving it around on Craigslist from forum to forum, seeing if they can, you know, get a snag, which scares me because I don't have the money to buy it. I told them when I get my income tax return, I'm going to buy it, so, oh shit, I forgot to grab my vacuum gauge out of my truck. Let's see. It is the only tool you will ever need, as long as you're clever. These locks are goddamn tricky in this whole thing. Maybe I had to flip the key over. There we go. Oh, is there no slack here? Come on. Yes, perfect. The most important tool when it comes to tuning a carbureted vehicle.
Cheese, motherfucker.
And let's roll. They're letting me out. So yeah, the most important tool you can have when it comes to tuning a car and seeing how well it runs and not doing anything major like a compression test is a vacuum test. You want to dial it for max vacuum. You just rotate the distributor, you know, once you all the way in on the needle jets or whatever, and then you basically turn them 1.5 turns out or 1 3/4, whatever your smartphone says to do it. After I started using a vacuum gauge, I said screw a timing light. A timing light is more of like, okay, 7 degrees before top dead center. It just kind of gives you a here's what it left on the factory on a clear sky, 72 degrees. The atmosphere is a little bit different than, say, you know, it's April, overcast in Washington. The air density is a little bit different, so the air fuel mixture will burn a little bit different. So when you adjust for max vacuum and then you adjust everything from there, you know, your idle, it's like tuning a guitar. It'll all gel together. It'll run great. I got a little can of gas with me. I'm gonna dump straight into the bowl of the carburetor. This thing has a 360 engine. I have no idea what kind of carburetor it's got, but hey, I know my Mopars. I'm pretty savvy. That's why I said this is the most important tool you can have also in your toolbox, because it's got just about every tool you want on it. So the idea is this: get the RV, pack it full of my gear, contact a pizza delivery location that I happen to work at. I'm not going to say who it is, but I'm calling this the Domino's tour because basically from one pizza joint to the next all the way down the coast. But I can't say where I work. But I'm calling it the Domino's tour because like a domino, you can work your way down the coast. My plan is, if the RV will make it, depending on what shape it's in, be like down south, say Texas or somewhere warm. Just become like a snowbird. I mean, I do have a lot of faith in a 360 engine from 1977, because it's a smogged up emission motor, which means it's not a high output motor. And another thing I know is the less horsepower you've got in an engine, the longer they'll last, especially on a V8. I've seen a lot of Dodge 318s from their like 1980s Interceptors go for a long time because they were so underpowered. We're talking like 150 horsepower. It's 318 with 360 heads. It breathed really good, but it was just an anchor. But it would go forever. Like they would. My 318, when I pulled it to drop my 440 in it, shit, it had 330,000 miles on it. You could still peel the tire. Smoked a little bit when we started it, but for 335,000 miles, that's not bad. It smokes a little bit when you start it. It smoked when it was cold. So I guess that meant the motor was worn out. Dropped the big block in it, and that thing smoked all the time, and I had just rebuilt it. I don't know. Then again, I didn't have a vacuum gauge back then either, and I felt like such a Momo. So the idea is eventually drop like a turboed Cummins in it so I can pull the passes at a decent rate. And you know, it'll be a 1977 camper, but it'll have the torque of a 12-valve Cummins. And you know, something that'll get it up over the passes with without really holding up too much traffic. That's a long way down. That'll be like, if this ever does go viral, this section right here, I'll be like, wow, I remember when I didn't think it was possible. I'm thinking, because I learned this on working on another friend's car that's been sitting a while, and I know this about old cars that have sat a while, is the diaphragm will go in the mechanical fuel pump, and sometimes it'll just stop sucking, won't have anything there. Maybe the gas tank's dry, who knows. But the diaphragm, the rubber diaphragms, at least in my experience, I've known go bad. If a vehicle's been sitting longer than 6 months, I'm pretty sure there's something in the gasoline to help preserve the rubber, because it just gets all dried and crusty, kind of like you go to the junkyard and you look up around like the window cracks, and you'll notice that rubber's all splitting, and you could like rub it, it'll turn to dust. I think that's what happens on the inside of these fuel pumps, because a lot of times it'll clog the fuel filter going into the carburetor, if it's got one. So I just met Matt. Man, he's got a lot of shirts for me. Awesome guy, Matt. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm rolling. I will leave your last name out of this. So yeah, he just hooked me up with some mad clothes. I'm gonna have to try them on in front of the camera and be like, yo, check out how sexy I am now. Hey Kathy, this is Bobby. We talked about the Dodge motorhome a few days ago. I'm in Everett. I'm heading up north. I'm gonna go check it out. If you give me a call back, I don't know if somebody's got to be there or not. I'd like to pour some gas in the carburetor, see if it'll fire up. Just, you know, diagnose it, whether it's a carburetor or a fuel pump. Yeah, like I said, I'm heading that way now. I am very interested in it. I'm heading your way. And I'll be up there shortly. Have a wonderful day. Oh, and if you could, call me back. My number is 360-913. And, yeah, I'll see you later. Have a wonderful day. You know when you start, like, leaving a voicemail and you're like, God damn, I sound like an idiot? Well, that just happened. We are heading into Smoky Point, to my most favoriteest place in Arlington. Well, I'm way too high to be here. So Brian wasn't here today, but luckily Ted. Turns out Ted's the amp guru. I thought it was Ryan. You learn more every day. Either way, still a good experience. So they said that my car radio idea would be the best way, where you wire in a car stereo into it and then just run a plug from the amp into the car radio and use the car radio as the amplifier. I was like, okay. I've actually got my 3 favorite tools in here right next to me right now for old cars. Got your Gerber, you gotta have that. Your vacuum gauge, which also doubles as a fuel pressure gauge. Voltmeter. I like this one because it does DC and AC on the exact same setting. And I got this thing like 10 years ago when I was working with my dad, and he wanted to throw it away because that part got severed. I was like, why would you you're gonna throw it away because this part got cut off? You're just gonna throw it away and go buy a new one. So I knew we had another one that had I just took this off another one that didn't work, electrical taped it on there. A really good voltmeter. Just needed some work. Throw it away, I got a new one. It's useless now. It's broken. You can't fix it. You can't use it. The ohms readings won't work out. I was like, don't be close enough for the stuff we were doing. Okay, what I like about working on a vehicle that hasn't ran for years is the process of when you get it to fire the first time. The magic of like doing this, where you go to key the starter over, and there's that magical spot in the universe where everything comes together and it goes like, this is all slowed down, but it's like, and it's running the way that it's meant to run, and it's running smoothly, and it's doing a little shake because maybe the lifters have gone a little bit of flat, but it's running good, you know, and then it dies because it's out of fuel. And you do it again, and this time it starts up even better. You do that about 4 or 5 times. Generally, that's enough encouragement for the fuel pump to get the fuel from the tank up to the carb. Now, from the pictures, it looks like this thing's got like the mid-1980s license plates on it, which scares me because rubber goes bad over time. Could need 6 new tires. It could need a new master cylinder for the brakes. If the brakes are shot, the thing can't move. It doesn't matter how good I can get it to run. If the brakes are shot, you're screwed. How bad are the tires weather checked? You know, these are the mechanical part. I feel confident in making this thing run good and all of that. Like that's the small potatoes. It's like the brake system, the transmission, is the kick down adjusted properly. Chrysler torque flights are very, very stubborn. They have an Achilles heel on them. Their kickdown linkage. That is the heart and soul of what makes the torque flight work. Like, you can run them out of fluid all day long. Just put more fluid in it, they'll be fine. But if that kickdown linkage is not hooked up right, it's like, it's the worst. Whoa. Hold on. dump truck is empty, and when he hit that bump we just went over, his trailer was all over the place. It was crazy, if you know what I mean. So we're just gonna keep the camera on it and watch it bounce around because it's kind of funny. Like, here we go. See a bunch of old RVs. Well, there's nobody here. Haven't gotten a call back. Nothing. Now I really gotta use the bathroom. So I could... There's a sign on the door that says I'll be back in 15. So I could wait around for goddamn ever. And I really don't want to go piss on somebody's property, because that's kind of a dick move. If they roll up and you're pissing all over sacred ground, you know what I mean? I mean, everybody pees. I just don't want to be sitting there with my dick in my hand looking at that motorhome, trying not to make the guy think I'm a weirdo. Zip down to this 76 station. I used to go here all the time when I used to paintball. They had hella cheap rock stars back in the day. That was totally worth the trip. Like, you know when you gotta pee so bad, when you pee and then your back feels better? That feels good. So while I was in there, you know how, when you're making your shuffle to the bathroom, you're like, oh God, I gotta go. Please, God, let there be nobody in there. I noticed out of the left side of my eye, on the shelves, Surge. Anybody else remember? I'm so glad they brought this stuff back out. When I was a kid, like before Surge is all there was, it was like there was a Slimer High C box, Slimer from Ghostbusters, and like then Surge came out and it was like they took this weird Kool-Aid drink and they carbonated it and called it Surge. So whenever I see Surge, it reminds me of back when I was a kid watching the Ghostbusters cartoon, because like it was like a generational thing. You had you know, like the little juice box as a kid, then you grew up and they came out with these, but they never had them this big. They were always just like a Coke size. Oh cool, somebody here is in a Dodge Dynasty. Never mind, it's Chrysler LeBaron, like on Freddy Got Fingered. Cool. Well, I'm gonna go check out this RV. Alright, so it is indeed a 2-barrel. Any auto light will work. It's got a auto choke, got a fuel pressure regulator, 360 engine. Probably get this thing going in 20 minutes. Kathy was here, the owner. Put that there. Slide it back into place. Cool, doghouse is back on. just gonna go inside and snap some pictures. Is that all right?
Pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah, because I should be done. Never mind. Yeah, that's. Well, time to go back home.